Good afternoon, and thank you everyone for joining. And thank you everyone for joining online as well. As Sonia mentioned, my name is Lika. I am the Program Management Officer at the Biotrade Initiative at UNCTAD, which is the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development. And I'm very happy to be probably your last moderator for this last panel. And I wanted to start by giving a very warm welcome to our excellent lineup of panelists that we have here today. So if all the panelists that are here in the room can come up to the stage. She's online. She's online as well. Yes. Maria, are you here in the room today?
Hi, Lika. I'm online.
You're online. Okay. Okay, good to see you.
Good to see you. I'm very happy to see you and very sad for not being there. The room looks beautiful. So congratulations for everything.
Thank you very much, and I can hear you very well, so thank you so much. Okay, so we're all here, so let us start. I would like to introduce you first to Huria Judy. I hope I said that correctly. Senior scientist at C4, and at the Forest, Agriculture, and Commodity Trade Dialogue, the FACT Dialogue. We also have here Surya Tarigan, scientist at the Trade Hub and professor at IPB University. Thank you for being here. We also have Jonas Nguopofan. Sorry. Scientist at the IITA International Institute of Tropical Agriculture and the Congo Basin Institute, CBI. So thank you all for being here with us today. We are also connected with Maria Vladimir Mekatanya, Indonesian Palm Oil Farmers Association. Very good to see you. We are also connected with Ms. Chen Ning, Director of the China Chamber of Commerce of Import and Export of Foodstuffs, Native Produce, and Animal Byproducts. And we have also Maria Daniela Garcia Freire, and also Ligia Utitiha from the Ecuadorian Permanent Mission to the World Trade Organization. So thank you all virtually and in person to be here with us today in this panel. I would also like to take a quick moment to thank our co-organizers once again today, UNEP, Center for International Forest Research and World Agroforestry, Center for Climate and Sustainable Finance, University of Indonesia, IPB University, UNEP WCMC Trade Hub. I would also like to express my special thanks to the Swiss State Secretariat for Economic Affairs, SECO, for supporting our UNCTAD Biotrade program. So as was mentioned this morning in the opening, and just as Sonia has also mentioned as well, this is the third and the last series of regional consultation meetings we have been having throughout this year. Can you put up the slide, please? Yes, thank you very much. So as you can see, we started this series by kicking off in the Latin American Caribbean region in Brazil in March. Then we moved to the African region in Cameroon in May. And we're today having this final consultation for the Asia region here in Indonesia. So the aim of all these consultation meetings has been to gather diverse stakeholders, like we have here today, to discuss priorities, challenges, and opportunities in the region, and to explore and to provide recommendations for solutions that are actionable to move towards a sustainable, fair, and inclusive nature-positive trade that supports countries. So throughout these three consultations, we have been collecting a wealth of knowledge, information, exchanges, and in this session will serve as kind of a glue to kind of all these consultations that we had, and to conclude these series. So it is a very celebratory occasion for us, well, at least for the organizers, because it's been a long road. It's been a long road for us. So I know it's after lunch. I know we had a long day already. We had the workshops. We had the panels in the morning. I know you're a little bit tired, but I hope you can take a sip of your coffee, your tea, and get ready for this session, because I really would like to have this session be a participatory one and a very engaging one. So I hope we can have a really good exchange for this panel. Just to recap, the state of play session that took place yesterday, which Beatrice has moderated, we saw some emerging challenges, opportunities, and what we need to continue to move towards a sustainable and inclusive agriculture and forestry systems which support social and also economic development. And just to kind of give a quick recap, we saw some reoccurring themes among the speakers, including the importance of inclusion of smallholders for a green economy. We saw that technical assistance and also supportive public sector is important. We saw that fostering collaboration among stakeholders and strengthening partnerships schemes is also very crucial. The importance of legal compliance came out many times yesterday and also today in the discussions. Legal land ownership and due diligence were some of the main topics that were explored. And there is a need for stronger incentives for implementation to happen. But at the same time, we need to acknowledge that it also takes a long time for these implementations to happen and that the road can be quite complex. So I kind of went over all of this so that it kind of all connects together in this session today. And we're going to look into what's happening in Asia, as well as looking back to the previous consultations that we had in Latin America and the Caribbean region, also the African region, so that we can all kind of bring it together and kind of see what knowledge, what best practices, what know-hows, and what opportunities can we pick from these meetings so we can put it together and so we can advance towards a world where trade and agriculture is more sustainable, and at the same time protecting biodiversity and to promote inclusive socioeconomic development. This is quite a huge topic, and I don't expect any of our panelists or any of us here in the room today to have any solutions or answers, but I hope that we can kind of break it up, and I'm sure the panelists already have some pieces of the answer today. So we're very happy to have this session today. Sorry to take a little bit long, but just before we begin, some housekeeping rules. So before I start, to panelists here and also online, I will be addressing one question to each of you. I will address one key question to each of you, and I want us to, then I will do one question each to each of you, and then I want us to do a lightning round at the end, where I'll ask one question to all of us, and if you can answer in 1 or 2 minutes, just one key topic, one key theme for that answer. So we have quite a packed schedule today. We have quite a lot of panelists online and also here, so I would really like to keep it very I really appreciate it if you keep your responses very concise and short. We might have to cut you off if you go a little bit over, so I'll really appreciate it if you keep it very concise. And for all the participants, as I mentioned, I would like this session to be very participatory and engaging. So if you have any questions, this session will be followed by a Q&A session. So please keep your questions until then. And if you're joining us online, please ask them in the chat. So without further ado, let's begin. Huria, I would like to give you the grand honor of kicking us off in these discussions for us. You have very rich experiences working at C4 and also with the FACT Dialogue, which started as an Indonesian-UK initiative. If you could start us off with some reflections on the opportunities, challenges, and actions that countries are taking to promote sustainable trade of agricultural commodities while protecting forests and ecosystems and promoting sustainable development. And feel free to give examples from your experience and your work. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Very pleased to be here today. Thank you for inviting me. I would like to answer your question first by starting giving kind of an overview what the FACT Dialogue is. If I might have the presentation, please. So the FACT Dialogue is an initiative, as we heard, next one please. As we heard already many times yesterday, it's an initiative which was born at COP26. It was born from the will and the decision of 28 countries, including the largest producer and the largest consumers, to work together, to collaborate toward sustainable development while protecting forests and ecosystems. In the FACT Dialogue, we have 28 countries, and the 28 countries are from the consumer and the producer countries. I wouldn't go in details about the roadmap, which was agreed among the countries in COP26, because I don't have time. But please, if you want to know more about this specific roadmap, which is really interesting, go to the webpage and have a look. You can download it in different languages. The roadmap is kind of built around 4 areas of work. And I was very pleased to listen to the exciting discussions happening here, because it was like, oh my God, I'm making all these linkages to all this work we are doing in the FACT Dialogue. Those areas are trade and market, smallholder support, traceability and transparency, and research and development and innovation. While we are looking at those now here in the roadmap, they look like separate groups, but in fact they aren't separate. And we are trying actually to have a holistic approach to all of them. Why? Because you cannot separate these areas we are talking about. When we talk about traceability and transparency, we are automatically talking about smallholder. When we talk about smallholder, we are talking automatically about trade and market. So it's really important that we have, while we are working in different areas, that we keep having a holistic approach to the work we are doing. In 2022, the UK and Indonesia, who are the co-chairs of the FACT Dialogue, we created together a secretariat, and the secretariat is hosted by C4 ICRAF. Can you please send me this next slide? So, to answer your question, how the FACT Dialogue is addressing, how is it contributing to enhance sustainable forest and agriculture trade? Actually, FACT Dialogue itself was created as a platform to address that. And what makes FACT Dialogue very special is that it brings trade, forest, agriculture, consumer, and producer together in one room, which is really, really very special. What makes it also very specific is that it is a government-to-government space. And this is an informal space. So this is not a space where countries will meet to agree and have, negotiate words or agreements. It's not. What it is an open space to countries to discuss the issues they might not be able to discuss somewhere. So it's really important to keep this space as informal as possible, because this is where we get really to the big elephants in the room, that countries can talk to each other directly about the issues and the specific issues of each country. Because while we are working toward collective goals, countries have different pathways, they have different realities, they have different problems, and they need to collaborate to find solutions, but the solutions need also to represent the different issues countries are facing. What makes it also very special is that this is a space where we are trying to build that trust I'm talking about, to open up the discussion, to go and to find shared approaches. Most of the time we focus discussions about the difference. And what we are trying in the FACT dialogue is really to find what do we have in common in this way towards sustainability. So it's really about, when you look at the roadmap, the title of the roadmap is Shared Path Forward. So it's really, the shared is really important. What the FACT dialogue is also doing is to fostering collaboration. And if I say collaboration, collaboration is not enough at the moment where we are. Why? Because, you know, I'm sure all of you were reading all the report which just came recently about how short is our window of opportunity to address climate change. So what we need is more than collaboration. What we need is collaborative learning. We need to learn together, which means that we need to share our experiences, to share the successes, but also the failures, that we don't repeat them. So what we are really trying to do in the FACT dialogue is to foster this collaboration, which end up in a collaborative learning by sharing best practices and looking at what is working. And we really are amazed to see how much good practices are out there. The problem is how to bring them at scale, how to make them work at a different level. What also we do in the FACT dialogue is knowledge sharing and building and enhancing evidence for informed discussion. This is really important because discussions sometimes about the topics we are dealing with here, as you saw in the discussion today, can be very, very emotional. They can be very political too. So it is really important to look at the evidence we have, to look at what is common between the countries. For instance, here we are doing a study right now on sustainability, where we are looking at what is the convergence and what is the divergence in the way countries are looking at sustainability. And we are taking some commodities as an example, and we would like to produce a matrix for the countries to be able, when they talk to each other in the room, they see, okay, this is exactly what we are talking about. This is the approach we are talking about, and this is the common pillars for sustainability, the common indicators, and this is the ones who are different. And we would like to focus on the ones who are common to move the discussion to a positive space. And we are also, even though the FACT dialogue is a government-to-government space, we are very, very interested and very keen and also engaging with other stakeholders, like you see here also today. And it's really important to bring these experiences into the dialogue, and there are different ways we are doing this. For instance, in the smallholder group, we are having what we call, I will speak a little bit more about this in a minute. We are having like sessions about, you know, stakeholder support, best practices, and in these sessions we bring other stakeholders who are not from the government from the first part of the session, and then we make it a closed session for government to government in the next hour. Next slide, please. I would like here just to give some examples. As I was presenting the different thematic areas, we have a facilitator country for each one of them, and we have also co-chairs. So Indonesia as a co-chair was really an extremely good experience working with Indonesia in the FACT dialogue. Indonesia really has a very creative way to implement the dialogue at the national level. So Indonesia created what is called the National FACT Dialogue Secretariat. And the interesting part of it is that they brought three ministries together. So the Minister of Forest and Environment, Minister of Agriculture, and the Minister of Economies. And this is really important because here what we see is this, they are creating an intersectorial discussion and debate. And we are learning a lot about the best practices happening in Indonesia. And they are also, Indonesia is very, very interested in many different topics, but in the trade and market, Indonesia is actually linking now the FACT dialogue to the current regulations. How can the FACT dialogue support countries to have those discussions and to exchange about those regulations? Malaysia is leading the smallholder thematic area, and here, as explained just before, just an example, we are organizing this smallholder series. One of them was on living income, for smallholders, and the next one is on institutions professionalizations, which I heard a lot about yesterday. I think it was even you who mentioned about how important the organization of smallholders in terms of to improve the conditions for the smallholders. Ghana is leading in facilitating transparency and traceability and transparency. And here, for instance, we just finished a very comprehensive report looking at what are the factors enabling conditions to improve resource use and reduce forest loss in the TNT area. And that was done by WRI. And now we are in the stage of presenting the finding of this report to the countries to identify next steps. So here again, you see this kind of information bringing evidence into the debate and then decide with the country where to go from there. Brazil is leading the Research Development Innovation Group, and here we had a Theory of Change workshop, for instance, where we are identifying how can research innovation inform the dialogue, inform the other thematic areas, because there are gaps, as I just heard before. There are some really important gaps we need kind of to improve knowledge and information about. And here we are creating what we call a Fact Dialogue Knowledge Hub. We are still working on this. And here we are really looking at how we can document all these best practices in a very systematic way. Because really, as I said before, we have to accelerate our actions. We don't have so much time left. So it's not just, talking to each other, but we really need to accelerate our actions. Thank you very much.
Maria, thank you very much, and thank you for kicking us off with these the discussions with the great work that FACT has been doing. You already touched on a lot of things that we've been discussing in these meetings, like collaboration, knowledge sharing. I noted that FACT, the dialogue has a wide range of stakeholders and also countries that are involved. I recall that earlier this year, some of your colleagues from the UK came over to talk with us at UNCTAD, and we're already also trying to see how we can be involved in the FACT dialogue, so this is great. Thank you very much for sharing all of your knowledge and experiences. I want to move on to get some perspective from countries in Asia, and we have online here Ms. Cheng. Great to see you online. Thank you very much for being here with us today. China plays a very big role in terms of the global agricultural sector. Could you give us an overview of China's vision, new opportunities and actions to enhance the sustainability of the agricultural supply chain at the local, national, and also international level? Over to you.
Okay, everyone. Very nice to be here. My name is Chen Ying. I'm from the China Chamber of Commerce. Thank you, the organizer, to invite me to share some information from China. First of all, I would like to introduce of CFNA. We are the #1 largest association in China and established in 1988. And we always take coordinate guidance, promotion, and consultant on the international agriculture trade. As you know that up to now, China is the #1 agricultural products market in the world. And as China's largest association, we cooperation with all of the international organizations, and just the World Economic Forum, WWF, RSPO, INFIT, CDP, and WRI, MQB, and so on. And in the domestic market, we also cooperation with the government, just like the Ministry of Commerce and the NDRC and the Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Agriculture, and just like that. And also, you will see that we also cooperation with the enterprises, just the ADM, Carrefour, Bunge, Cargill, Louis Dreyfus, and so on. And we cooperation with them since 2008. Just we take part in RSPO as the first time. Since then, nearly every year, we hold the conference and the meetings, the summit to promotion the sustainable palm oil in China. And also we organize the network and ask the enterprises to join it. And also we cooperation with and support by the INFIT and DEFRA, and we promote the sustainable palm oil in China. And every year, those from this picture, you will see that we organize the delegation of the government to visit Indonesia and Malaysia and enterprises. We show them to see what is the sustainable plantation, what is the non-sustainable plantations. And also we do some consumers promotion in China too. But we also think that there is many opportunities and also is a big challenge for our sustainable soft goods in China. And just one reason is that if you and also the Chinese enterprises, they import sustainable products, they will end their cost. They will cost more. And those certifications, products, agricultural products in China is lower. And also the Chinese enterprises and the market demand for the certifications products, also the sustainable products is not as strong as we imagined. And also is like some of the government and the policies supported. That is also, I think about that last year, on September 29, we organized the Chamber Sustainable Professional Committee of Agriculture and summit. We promotion the sustainable palm oil in China, but also the soybeans and all of the soft goods. Up to now, there are 13 enterprises join it, and we aim is to protect environment and biodiversities. We will give some magazines and advertisement to our member to ask them how to join the committee, and we also introduce our work. We offer the tours for the enterprises to guide them to how to purchase and how to consume the sustainable products. And also we hold the meetings and the trading for the enterprises. And we also set up the sustainable palm oil supply chain. And also we set up the website to help the Chinese enterprises to buy the sustainable palm oil online. This is our tradings and agenda. This is we cooperation with the WTO to establish the CSPOA. That is the aim is to zero destroy the forest. Up to now, there is 17 enterprises just join, and many of the is very famous enterprises and very large in the world. Here is some tours, the trading website, and you will see on the meetings picture. Last year and this year is over 100 enterprises attend our sustainable palm oil summit, which is held during our conference. And I'm very lucky to say that just I see on the screen that there is a lady from your Smallholders Association. This year he is attend our conference and make a presentation and at the China's oil and oilseeds summit. And not only for the enterprises, but we also very pay attention to advertisement and the Chinese consumers because he know a little about sustainable palm oil and just like things. We use on the Chinese China National Sugar and the wine export to advertisement the sustainable palm oil and sustainable products in China. And up to now, we are very glad to see that there are many Chinese local enterprises. They have entered into the actions just Mars. They also have a sustainable code for if they are suppliers, they can give me sustainable code. That is, they have take the measures in China market. This is a COFCO that is a China national enterprises. And in recent years, they do much things to promote and purchase and buy the sustainable palm oil in China. Also, the McDonald's, and they use the sustainable palm oil in China. And they also think that the palm oil sustainable is very important for them. We are also very lucky to announce that CSPOA, we up to now have 17 members. And there is a Chinese RSPO's members in China since 15 years before, it's only 8 enterprises, but up to now is 323 enterprises. Last year, China imported over 500,000 metric tons of sustainable palm oil in China. I think that during the past 10 years, we have a big gap in promotion the sustainable palm oil in China. I hope that our two countries with very good relations, and our minister and our president with your country, and also your president dog also visit China this year or last year. We think in the near future, our two countries will make a bigger process and very good relations. And for the next step, our Chamber of Commerce not only pay attention to the sustainable palm oil, we have also responsibility of the soybean, beef, cocoa, coffee, and so on. Not only pay attention to the Asia, but also for the Africa and Brazil and American countries just like that. I'm also very glad to announce that this year China has a carbon mixed together factory in China. I think that many of other factory is joined in this line, and we also organize Chinese members to visit their very good factories, and hope that China's enterprises and the government will arrive of aid in future. And that is what I would like to share to you, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Chen. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, and I'm very happy to see that China is acting as a convener to all the stakeholders in the palm oil sector. I've noted that it's very good to have these tools. I think this is what we also discussed in some of the workshops, to have tools and guidelines in place, which is very good that that there are many tools and guidelines that are out there. So I thought that was very interesting. I think you also mentioned some important themes that was also mentioned in our meetings, such as certification, supply chain issues. So I think that those were very all relevant issues that bring us all to this session today. So thank you so much. Let's now make a turn to Africa. We have Jonas here with us today, who has also been part of the consultation meetings that was held earlier this year in Cameroon. I think Africa is at a crossroad, I think, in many ways, in many aspects, and I think it's they're really now at a really crucial moment. Could you give us some reflections on the actions, opportunities? Can you mute your mic, please? Thanks. Could you give us some reflections on the actions, opportunities, and challenges that Africa faces, particularly in Cameroon, to move towards a more sustainable and inclusive agriculture and supply chains, and how can trade help to deliver this? And if you can give any examples, that would be great. Thanks. Over to you.
Thank you, Lika. Thank you, everyone. Happy to be again with you today. So please, can you display the presentation? Okay, and then let's go to the third slide, because times matter. Next slide, please. Next slide again. Next slide, please. And next slide. So, yes, talking about sustainability and inclusive agricultural supply chains, supposed to discuss about what is, please come back to the previous, what is supposed to be inclusive and sustainable. Come to the previous slide, please. Okay. So I just want to skip into the concept, not waste time, because so we should try to see, in Cameroon, we're trying to first discuss about what is sustainable and inclusive when it's come to agricultural supply chains. And since yesterday and this morning, we've been discussing about the concept, the definition. Yes, because it is also by understanding what we mean by a concept that we can better advance. So inclusiveness is to be understood in terms of including all the actors in the decision-making process. Because when we have actors missing, like small orders or like other link in the supply chains, then we are not in an inclusive process, sustainable process. Inclusiveness brings in also the aspect of natural inclusive agriculture. This means that we should not be targeting only the sustainability of the environment, but also the resilient food system, the sustainability of income, and the share of the income along the supply chains with all the challenges that we can find. Yesterday we discussed some of the challenges for the farmers. So inclusiveness is also about regulation, inclusion in the regulation making process, so that all the actors can find themselves in the ongoing regulation and work to meet the regulation. So we have an aspect of inclusion that is also gender vulnerable group inclusion when developing the supply chains. That is also important to be taken into account. And inclusiveness is also important in terms of integrated supply chains, where we have the consumers who can talk to the producers and who can talk with the actors along the supply chains. Inclusiveness as well is also interconnection of the links in the supply chains. And also, we should not be looking for solving the challenges for one actor in the supply chains, but the challenges of all the actors in the supply chains. Next slide, please. So when we see the next slide, we see one key stakeholder that is at the core, that is the farmers. And we can see a sort of connection of the farmer to many other stakeholders: research, education, extension services, access to credit, transport, policy, marketing. So sustainability and inclusiveness of the agricultural supply chains suppose that at each link of the supply chain, the specific link should be able to connect with the other link. This is the case for the farmer. And this connection supposes that they are aware about the policy-making process, and they also interact with the policy. So this chart that we have, we should have it for each of the actors, for the policymakers, linking to all the other actors in the supply chains. Okay. So in the Cameroon, there are some initiatives ongoing initiative that can help to account for inclusiveness and sustainability in agriculture in this way. Please, next slide. A few months ago, next slide, please, Cameroon has been admitted as part of the political dialogue between the European Union and the production countries. And this dialogue, about 4 dialogues were carried out in 4 different topics. One on the price, the second on the traceability, the third on forest production and monitoring, and the fourth on sustainable production and agroforestry. And during all this dialogue, one thing that we could appreciate was the ability to have the actors from all the link on the supply chain, all the stakeholders to meet together and discuss. So we find that this kind of event or area is an opportunity to target inclusiveness. That's kind of inclusiveness that brings together all the actors to discuss, to define, and to decide. So during, after these political dialogues and cocoa-talks, an initiative by the Sustainable Trade Initiative is called Sustainable Cocoa Committee in Cameroon. And the GCRF project, or the Trade Hub project that we are representing, we are part of this, this dialogue. So we've been discussing about twice around a month about all the challenges with all the actors. The farmers are part of the dialogue, the various ministries, the various technical partners, international organizations, the actors from the private sector. And then this discussion are aiming to resolve 12 recommendations that were from the 4 cocoa dialogues, political dialogues, in order to meet the challenges along the supply chains and to address the challenges of each link of the supply chains. So this is an opportunity to target sustainable and inclusive trade. If you go to the next slide, we will mention, next slide please, another initiative that is from the national organization. The FODEC is the Cacao Cafe Development Fund that is defined by the Ministry of Agriculture. That is a sort of platform that also brings all the stakeholders together to discuss and to try to target some, to address some challenges in the links of the supply chains. So recent activities by the FODEC is the creation of the Guichet du Producteur, a sort of producer's window, where all the challenges are discussed with all the actors so that the challenges can be solved in an inclusive way. And the producers are part of it. So one of the activities is leveraging fundraising in order to provide facilities, capacities, input to the farmers, and also to connect with the market. So an example of facilities is also a subsidizing system where the farmer contribute to 60% to have access to the income. And then the initiative covered the 40%. Let's go to the next slide. And to provide so many response to the challenges. So the last opportunity is the roadmap that we are building. The roadmap that we are building is a very big opportunity. Months, bringing actors together to discuss, to record the challenges, and
recording
to provide
in progress.
solutions. Thank you.
No, Jonas, thank you so much. As you noticed, I take a lot of notes when I notes. First of all, I really like that you highlighted and centered your presentation around inclusivity. I think that's really important. And I see here I put in asterisks and double underline. sustainability of environment is important, but also income shared around the supply chain is also very important. I think that's really crucial. And I also like the platform that centers around leveraging fundraising, because I think finance was a really big topic that was raised in many of the topics and workshops today. So thank you so much for the great presentation. Now let us return back to Indonesia, because we're flying all over today. We have here with us today Surya. Thank you, Surya, for being here with us today. We had a really good session on palm oil this morning. We also had Ms. Cheng talk about palm oil as well. So it's a really big topic for this session today, for the meeting today in general. Could you give us your take on it, especially on your reflections, experiences, and perspectives on what are the opportunities and challenges that the sector faces, and what needs to be done to become more sustainable and inclusive in the sector?
Thank you. First of all, when we are talking about sustainability, is very complex, as we already heard many times from yesterday. And here I'm talking about specifically about oil palm in Indonesia. Some strategies that our government are going to take to advance the sustainable agriculture and supply chains. We have already heard many aspects, but there are some important points that I would like to highlight in this event. So, what is actually indicator of sustainability? For us here, we have certification like ISPO and RSPO, and also it is coming UDR. So in terms of sustainability, if you are talking about UDR, it's mostly about forest. But consider the typology of oil palm, especially smallholder in Indonesia. It is more or less about 7 million hectares smallholder oil palm. Part of it experience I think second generation, because some of it already approached 25-year cycle, and soon will be replaced by new plantation. In this case, I think it is little to do with UDR, deforestation. Part of the 6 million or 7 million smallholder plantation, it is also in area which is legal. Probably the whole plantation in Indonesia from 16 million, 3 million is in the forest zone. So it means that some of the plantation, it is in area which is legal. So when we are talking about sustainability, if we just refer to UDR, I think it is only have small cross section with current plantation. Mostly it will related to newly open plantation. So in this case, sustainability is not only relating to forests, even though as Pak Harry this morning mentioned that sustainability is deforestation. So we are talking about other element of sustainability which is already addressed in ISPO and RSPO criteria, including inclusivity and also good agriculture practice, which is I think not specifically addressed in UDR. Good agriculture practice, how to use fertilizer, because if plantation is certified, they need to analyze exactly the demand of the nutrients, so they will give fertilizer as it is needed. And it is, when we are talking about fertilizer, we are talking about nitrogen and one element of planetary boundary, it is also relating to nitrogen. So good agriculture practice is also important part of sustainability for us. Yeah. So that's why sustainable indicator for us, I think it is already covered in ISPO and RSPO. Yeah. But the problem, as we already mentioned, for smallholder, less than 2%, which already certified, and 2%, less than 2% from 2,500 farmer, and still a lot of farmer to go. And this is, I think, the strategy how to speed and to expand in the future. And one strategy, I think, probably can be also adopted in other region, what we call jurisdictional approach. Yeah. As an example, we are talking about legality. Yeah. Land legality as one of sustainability element. Legality is regulated in district level. Yeah. In district level. So it is not possible to neglect regulation stakeholder in district level if we would like to increase legality. Yeah. So that's why I introduced jurisdictional approach. It has been already tested in many districts. So it's based on district as a jurisdictional boundary. Yeah. Because the many decision regulation related to sustainability, it is in district level. Yeah. So traceability, legality should include stakeholder in district level. That's why jurisdictional approach is very, very important. So this is, I think, the way to go to expand to speed the certification, and also in this certification scheme, there is a need to strengthen the farmer institution. Yeah. You can imagine the cost for certification is very, very expensive, probably up to 1 billion. Yeah. And small farmer, individual small farmer can never afford it. So in this best practice, they organize themselves in a kind of cooperative institution. It is a legal entity, and they have more power. I think these two approach is the way, I think, to speed, expand the certification in smallholder. I think that's all. First, thank you.
Well, thank you very much. I think you covered all the various topics that we mentioned. So it was like ding, 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 ding. You've hit all the spots. So you mentioned inclusivity, which was mentioned many times. You also mentioned good agriculture practices. The use of guidelines is important. The crucial issue of certification, which I think is very crucial as well. Legal compliance and the legality is also mentioned many times in this meeting, so they're all very valid. Yes, I think they're all very good points, and I think it's very hard to choose which one is the priority, because I think they're all priorities. And I think this will be kind of the next step to see how to tackle each of these issues. I have to make one apology to Maria, because If you realized in the agenda, there are two Marias. There is one Maria online, and there's one Maria here on the stage. So my complete and my sincere apologies for not being able to introduce you before. So I would like to take this moment now to introduce Ms. Maria Golda Maria Mektania from the Indonesian Palm Oil Farmers Association. And I would like you to kind of turn to you, because we've just heard from Surya, and now to you, Maria, on we'd like to kind of get the perspective from kind of the farmers, the smallholders, and view on the sector. If you could give us kind of what are the, I'll kind of give you a similar question on what are the opportunities, challenges, and the priorities that smallholder producers, particularly in the palm oil sector, faces. If you can give us any examples from your experience. Yes, please, go ahead. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for the opportunity. Good day, everyone. So I'm the offline Maria. Then there's another online Maria. Hello, Maria. I'll try to keep my time as appointed. So I am a second-generation palm oil smallholders from Indonesia, based in Riau, but I was from Central Kalimantan. So pretty much I touch on two central palm oil province in Indonesia. I'm part of APKASINDO, known as Indonesian Palm Oil Smallholders Associations, based in Jakarta and also in Pekanbaru. Talking about sustainability, I mentioned and I heard and I pick up a lot the keywords of smallholders, smallholders, smallholders. Yes, we are one of the keywords that have been talked about. And the other keywords is inclusivity. But I rarely heard the word of sustainable economy. Please bear in mind, for us smallholders, this is our source of income. We do care about our environment. We do care about social impact, but of course we do care about our economy. If we're talking about getting sustainable connection to the market, but if by the end of the day, by applying this sustainable certification mechanism means adding more costs, and yet the price of our fresh fruit bunch is still the same, it means the sustainable of economic dimension is zero, because we're talking about the other element of sustainable. I believe what the kind gentleman has shared before in his presentations, in which the farmers or the smallholders is the central, is the key point of, or the key action, in which if in every discussions we are participated and invited, that means we can get a say and give an insights about the regulations, insights about the price, insights about the supply chain process, and most definitely insights about the actual production process on the fields. Because again, when I was in a panelist group 4, the heated discussions is about the technical or technical problems on operational level. Pak Jimmy was there, I was here, but he is not here anymore. Pak Jimmy, who closely related from 8 project, I believe, closely related with smallholders, he even mentions it is quite difficult if we ask the smallholders to do this and that, but we do not give a support, particularly economic support. And I agree with what the kind professor said before. We have to be supported in several key points: good agricultural practice, the cooperative unit, or what popular term said kelembagaan, because we cannot stand alone, especially the swadaya, the independent smallholders such as me. I am a independent smallholders. It's okay, get on. Another sample of technical problems that we did not see before. So anyway, I believe if we ask about the challenges ahead, is if the challenge. So I believe one of the challenges that also could be part as a priority list is about the economic aspect or dimension from the sustainable. We do want to reach the access to the market so we can still sell our fresh fruit punch. But the opportunities as basically, I believe, because the government effort about ISPO, some of us already aware, although not all. That's why, like the representative from our group said before, there's also the need of awareness program or campaign for the smallholders, so we know exactly what's going to happen when we, let's just say, for example, collecting data. After the group before, one student approached me because she was having difficulty. She listed down a group of smallholders, 50 lists, who agreed to be asked, but when she got there, only 20 who agreed. The other 30 keep saying, what going to do with my data? Who's giving it to? This is a very example that sometimes cannot be understood, or it's like doesn't make any sense for those who are not been on the ground before. So that's what I believe, but the opportunities, I believe it's there because we as a smallholders, we want to be part for the sustainability of the industry in the big picture. But do please, when we're talking as a big picture, please include us in a more practical and not just one way, or just giving us a session to just workshop and then go, leave us just like that. Cannot. I believe what in the Cameroon can be a good example also when the farmers is being assisted as a group, a pilot group, from zero until connecting to the market, and see how the effort of this assistance can bring finally food on the table. I believe that's the perspective for us smallholders. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Maria. You brought up a very good point that we have been talking about sustainable economy, but not as much in comparison to the other topics that we discussed. So thank you very much for bringing up that. I think that's really crucial. While you were talking, I was remembering for my workshop, I was in group 1, and someone in the group mentioned, in this meeting, it should be the farmers that should be the main actor of this whole, screenplay or the whole theme of this, but they're not here. They're not a part of it, and so they don't get the spotlight. So I just really thought about that when you're giving your presentation. I also think that the awareness campaigns is also equally as important. They also need to get in the spotlight. They also need to get their say as well. So I think those are really important points that we need to really start to put into action, I think, because we say this a lot in these meetings, but we really need to put them into action. So thank you very much for mentioning that. I think we're here to our last speaker, but last but not least, we're going to fly over to the other side to Latin America and the Caribbean region. We have on here, sorry, I should have mentioned not Maria, Daniela, and I believe your colleague is also, Ligia is also joining us. Good morning. I think you're in Geneva, right? Good morning. Could you give us some reflections, actions, opportunities, and challenges that Ecuador and also the Latin American and the Caribbean region face to move towards a more sustainable and inclusive agriculture and supply chains, and how can trade can deliver how can trade help to deliver this? And please feel free to give examples from Ecuador or from the region. So over to you. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. I didn't have the control for unmuting my profile, but I think it's on. So thank you very much for the coordination, and thank you. As I was saying, I'm super happy to participate, but very sad because I cannot be there. And Indonesia is such a beautiful country. So thank you very much for inviting us. And I think, after everything that my colleagues have already mentioned, I have a few things to contribute with because we share so many, there are so many convergences and in terms of challenges, but also opportunities, and in terms of how we see sustainability can contribute, or sustainable can contribute, sustainable agriculture can contribute, but also on how we can have agriculture in terms of how we can understand agriculture and how we can understand supply chains from an inclusiveness dimension, from an inclusive approach. And as my colleagues mentioned, I mean, we have, I had also inclusiveness in my points, and we, but it's important to understand what it means when we talk about also multi-stakeholders. We tend to say multi-stakeholders a lot, but it's good always to disaggregate, because only in that way we understand the range of actors that participate across the value chain, but also that are important in terms of our constituencies. And when we talk about these important topics from every dimension, and when I talk about the different dimensions, talking about environment, the social and the economic dimension as well, which is very important for us when we talk about these topics. The area, I will also invite my colleague from NUA, Ligia Utitiak. She is also in the Mission of Ecuador, and she's working and she will provide some inputs also from our vision from traditional knowledge in terms of sustainable agriculture. But I would like to say, well, giving a vision in terms of Latin America, Latin America is a region that contributes to global sustainability. We have 30% of the ecosystems globally, including more than 50% of the primary forest globally, and the region with a population close to the 10% globally generates less than 3.8% of the global emissions in terms of CO2 when we talk about climate change, but also contributes the less when we talk about pollution and so on. And of course, as we face also with similar challenges when the triple crisis when we talk about climate change, pollution, and biodiversity loss. And I always tend to mention the three because they are interconnected. And I mean, our work as policymakers taking into consideration different dimensions, the different challenges we face, the different realities, but also the different actors involved is very complex. But that's why we're here, and that's I mean, and that brings also more importance to the topic and more relevance when we talk about inclusiveness, bringing the different perspectives, not only nationally, regionally, but also internationally. So this is. I mean, this consultation is very timely, and it has let me understand also from other regions where we have many points in terms of, and I would say like we agree with all that has been said. In terms of the region, we are also provider of ecosystems services, and we, in terms of sustainable agriculture, we're facing also the same challenges in terms to in terms of accessing different markets. In particular for SMEs, it's like something that we are very much working into how to make available trade tools in terms of for our SMEs and for our businesses for accessing markets, or for continuing that we that our SMEs depend on. For example, in terms, I will add another layer to the discussion, and in terms of food security, and in terms of food security and the sustainability in the three dimensions, we have been in terms, and I will then go to the WTO in terms of subsidies and how they distort they distort the production, the efficient production, the efficient capacity of the production. And sorry, I'm thinking in Spanish and then moving to English, so I'm like, sorry, but the importance of reducing subsidies and because of their distortive effect, but also also because they are harmful to the environment. So that has been one of the things that we have very much emphasized in terms of the reduction of the subsidies that many developed countries have implemented, and they distort certainly our advantage in terms of competitiveness or comparative advantage vis-a-vis other partners. In terms of, I will say that it's important also from this discussion, and I tend to agree with just agreeing with what was said. It's important to recognize the different approaches and methods that we all have, and the different realities that we all face. One size doesn't fit all. It doesn't mean we want to, we don't want to achieve the same outcome, or we don't want, or we are not contributing to the same goal. But this recognition of the different approaches providing the same outcome, it's very important also for Ecuador in the discussions when we talk about sustainable agriculture. I will just to mention the importance, and it was already mentioned as well, the importance of technologies and innovation, and importance of up-to-date technologies, and how those technologies are available for the range of stakeholders we have, in particular those that need the most to advance in what in sustainable practices that can impact production in a positive way. And I will also add to another layer to the multi-stakeholders, and what are those actors, because it's very important for us also beyond, I mean, SMEs, of course, small producers, but not forgetting the gender approach, and also intergenerational people and traditional knowledge, which contributes a lot in terms of when we talk about Ecuador, in terms of sustainable agriculture and practices that we have maintained, and that certainly benefit from knowledge that has been there. So how we can take advantage of that, it's also an important point for the discussion, and a way to contribute from our side. I will stop there. Just we had just one thing. We had in the public forum, the WTO, 2 weeks ago, an association of Guarani women from our Amazon, and it was great to see how sustainable agriculture has provided them the means to transition from practices that were unsustainable, were necessary for, but that was a way of for them to thrive. But how sustainable agriculture made give them the opportunity to transition to a more to achieve social, not only environmental goals, but also socioeconomic goals, because the realization of their communities was certainly a very important. It's certainly a very important point, and this is a very good example that we can learn from. I will share some information about that, and it relates to cacao fine and aromatic, and that's one of the products that they are exporting now. So the importance of, in this case, the importance of gender, the importance of our indigenous communities, but also the importance of how the government can provide the tools for them to thrive and for them to transition is certainly a good example in terms of sustainable agriculture, and how sustainable agriculture can be certainly a sector that can provide the means to transition to a more sustainable and more to sustainability and contribute to fight biodiversity loss. And I will also, and climate change and pollution, certainly. I will give perhaps the floor, if that's okay, to my colleague from the mission, Liqiu Titiak. She covers also traditional knowledge and when it relates to intellectual property. And we thought that point was important to add to the conversation. And thank you very much.
Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, we can hear you, yes.
I'm not really sure if there, you can hear me? Hello, good afternoon in Indonesia. Thank you for having us here in this space to interchange ideas around the trade sustainable for agriculture. Well, as my colleagues was saying before, Ecuador has several institutions that work together in the promotion and protection and research of sustainable agriculture. Considering the rational use of available or environmentally friendly resource and the rescue of ancestral knowledge and biodiversity, trade and IP skills could help to achieve an inclusive agriculture and supply chain process. Ecuador is given important steps during this turning to this issue. Now our country is analyzing the probability to be part of the WIPO Green Project to connect to sustainable projects around the agriculture and protection to the huge biodiversity that Ecuador has. Because the promotion of sustainable agriculture in Ecuador should be joint procedures between the public and private sectors, with a special emphasis on the dissemination of knowledge and dissemination of know-how, with a special emphasis on the promotion of available technology to companies that are capable of producing or implementing this technology in the favor of the sustainable agriculture. In the frame of Ecuador, participation at WIPO committees is actively proposing within Andean countries the recognizing and protection of traditional knowledge and the source of the genetic resource that members are holding in the frame of a possible juridical instrumental about IP and genetic resource. This is why Ecuador vision respect for the nature and the biodiversity must be balanced with agriculture production for its citizens. Finally, this criterion leads to the fact that in order to move forward, the past must be analyzing and coupled to the future. In this case, the use of sustainable agriculture guided by traditional knowledge for the respect of plant varieties and within the support of technology to develop the effective and efficient tools for the ground of this branch of importance for the objectives of sustainable development. So Ecuador is given these important steps to protect all our traditional knowledge and the source of the genetic resource in the different areas as WIPO and the WTO too.
Thank you very much. Thank you both. Thank you both for your interventions. I think, well, first of all, I have to say that Ecuador is a very biodiverse country, and they've been doing a lot of efforts into biodiversity conservation, as well as being a forerunner, I think, in terms of IP and also traditional knowledge. So I think there's a lot to learn from what Ecuador has done already. So thank you very much for your presentation on that. And I think many other countries can also learn from that. I just wanted to kind of since we've had all the speakers have spoken already, I just wanted to kind of put it together and kind of say that even though Asia, Africa, Latin America, and the Caribbean, we all are vastly different, places, and with different circumstances and different history, different culture, different backgrounds. But I think the problems and the issues that we face, I see that there's lots of overlap, and there's lots of common themes and common issues that we all face. And I think that going forward, I think there should be more spaces where we can all talk together like this, and to be able to exchange the know-hows and the opportunities and challenges that we face, so we can all talk together and also discuss together what can we do to move forward. I wanted to do a lightning round with the panelists, but I think we're running a little bit out of time. So I'm going to change it a little bit and do a Q&A session, and to answer any questions from the audience and from the chat. But before that, I just wanted to if you can all give the panelists a round of applause for their interventions. If you have any questions, please ask away. If you see anything in the chat, or if you're participating online, please ask away in the chat as well.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon. I'd like to ask to Pak Jonas for your experience with Cameroon. Yeah, Indonesia is maybe the third biggest cocoa producer country at the moment. But we know the quality of dried cocoa beans is very low in Indonesia. I heard Cameroon has developed a kind of policy that regulating that the smallholder farmers, they need to upgrade their quality of cocoa. That they cannot sell raw cocoa or unfermented one, and then only forcing them to upgrade that fermentation process within the smallholders, and then the mechanisms for improving the added value of itself. I want to know the background of how this policy somehow can be adopted by the smallholders, and what is the response of the smallholders at that time, and what's the pathway that Cameroon can come up with this kind of success? Thank you.
Yeah, excuse me, I didn't get the question very well. So yes,
So I want to hear the success story from Cameroon. Yeah, about the regulations of pushing the smallholders to improve their quality of cocoa. Because in Indonesia, most smallholders, they sell unfermented bean and very low quality and low price. And there is only a small segment of smallholder farmers that able to improve their fermentation process, and they export it to some chocolatier. But that I heard from your country that you're able to do that. Like, what's the background story of that? What's the adoptions of this regulation? How hard for the smallholder to transform their practice? Thanks.
Okay, thank you for the question. So I would say that the improvement of the cacao, the quality of cacao, is not definitely driven by the regulation. It's by the market, because the market of cacao is a liberalized market, you see. So, of course, the government have developed some initiative or support some initiative. I mentioned the Excellence Cacao Initiative. That is an initiative with there are so many stakeholders that are in the initiative, linking the producers to the consumers, or to the chocolate maker in France, for instance. So here the quality is effective because the supply chain is very short, and for the cacao to be part of Cacao d'Excellence, it should meet some requirements that are defined, and it is a whole process that's in the center of excellence there are 8 centers of excellence established in Cameroon in different production basins. The farmers are recorded in the center of excellence, and they are accompanied individually by the center of excellence to follow some protocol in the drying, in the fermentation, and even the harvesting. So this is why we can have those kind of success. And I want to raise the fact that the share is still low. So last year, 700 kilograms of cacao were admitted to the Cacao d'Excellence market. That is about 1% of the market in Cameroon. Now, another mean or another initiative for quality cacao is from the private sector, because they have interest having the quality cacao, and then they develop mechanism to support. I don't make publicity, but I can mention the case of Olam, who work with a set of cooperatives and the farmers, and who try to make sure that he buys good quality cocoa at the end. So then the Olam and the cooperative engage a mechanism, or put in place a mechanism that build capacity to the farmers in how to dry, how to process, how to handle or to manipulate the product after harvest. So yes, but when it's come to regulation, today the government has developed a PAT Cacao. That is a program for development of the cacao supply chains. That is summarizing whatever support the government is going to give in that sector. So this regulation or this institution, it will hopefully help to raise the quality cacao, but is still yet on the process of development. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think I just got a warning that we're running out of time. So if you have any questions, I think this is the last session. We'll have the closing, and if you have any questions, please come up to us. I think we'll be around. If you're online, you can still leave us a question in the chat, and we'll answer back to you. So thank you very much, everyone, and thank you to all the panelists once again.
Yeah, thank you, Lika, and also thank you for the panelists. It is very interesting exchange sessions. Now we are at the end of our agenda for this 2 days consultations. I would like to thank you again for your participation in person or online, and as panelists or as participants. And thank you for your input, insights, and patience in following this consultation agenda. And I think we deserve one round of applause for all of us. Yeah. And I would like to give several last information from me. So I would like to remind you that we have a feedback form for Indonesia Roadmap. It's printed on your table, and it will be open until following days to gather inputs from you. And the barcode also, we have also a barcode for the presentation files from Pak Heri Purnomo this morning. So if you want to read and access, and we will very appreciate if you can give us inputs. And all materials from this event will be uploaded at Craft webpage in following days, like presentations, also the summary graphs of day 1 and day 2, along with the recording of plenary sessions. So we will upload everything in the webpage, so you can click everything on the webpage in the following days. And please expect a follow-up email from our organizing committee that will inform you further. And should you need a participation certificate, please reach out to our organizing committee. And now I would like to thank again everyone here and online, and we hope to see you in the next occasions. And finally, I would like to leave the stage as MC for today, and I will lead my colleague from UNEP, Beatrice Fernandez, to lead the closing sessions. And thank you again. And Beatrice, the time is yours.
Thank you very much, and I'll be brief because the rush hour is going to start soon, so I know you have to go. Just to say thank you, everyone, all of you who came to the 2 days and who were partially on and off because we understand your commitments. Thank you to all the participants, the panelists, the people that follow us online. Thank you to the government representatives, to the experts. Sonia has already given you a very good overview of what is next. The only thing that I will add is that you will also receive the report with all the outcomes that were shared from the panels, from the outputs, the inputs that you gave us in the individual workshop groups. And what we will present is how the region is recommending to move this agenda forward. So you will also receive that. My thanks to the organizing committee, to C4, to UNCTAD, to WCMC, to WWF, everyone who was involved to make this happen. Please continue following the Trade Hub on the website. We think there are a lot of opportunities to continue moving this agenda forward. And with that, we will close. Terima kasih, and we'll see you next time.